So I've had some time to digest the end of Foundation Season 3 and really put my thoughts to it, because it's a complex series, isn't it? I mean, what worked, what didn't. I mean, we'll come to the first bit now, because the fact that in the first two seasons, I found it a bit overwhelming, if I'm being honest, especially Season 1. So it might be a case of that the more I got used to it, the more I got used to the characters, despite the big jumps in time and you've got new characters, you do kind of get used to it. These Galactic Empire series have a massive problem, not directly Star Wars, that didn't have this problem, of feeling like they're kind of overwhelming, like there's too much trying to go on because you're trying to get this vast expanse of a universe off whilst having a lot of characters. And it's difficult to do because it makes concentrating on the stories far more challenging. And honestly, I had to have a recap of Season 2 before I started watching Season 3, so there is that. But for some reason, I thought that this season felt more focused. Now, I saw people saying it wasn't, and I sort of analysed it and was like, kind of isn't anymore. Maybe it is just me getting used to it, but I think there just is an aspect of it where it might be more focused. So we get on to the stories themselves, and obviously the overarching one, the big thing, is the Mule. Now, I enjoyed the Mule. I thought, God, you know, his character, well, we'll get on to the ending, but his character, very similar to the one in Dune Prophecy with the super soldier who came back from the desert. So, but then those two actors are very similar anyway in the kind of roles they get given. And I kept thinking during the Mule's arc that this has got to be a two-season thing, because a criticism I would make to start with is that the Foundation kind of overlooked a bit. And I get with three factions it's difficult, especially when you're trying to put the Mule over. I get putting the Mule over Foundation as well and making the Mule the big threat, but I thought they did it in a far too dismissive way. And I'll come on to the twist at the end. But the Mule that we knew for 99% of this season, thoroughly enjoyed. Great character, creepy child. Couldn't have asked for more. And when it came to the faction I haven't mentioned, Empire, like I really preferred the Cleons, because this season's Cleons were so much more entertaining than before. I get they were the big bad, especially Day in season 1 and 2. I mean, it was a very satisfying ending with Day last time. But you can never really beat the Cleons because of the fact that they just get another Cleon. But I love the fact that we had essentially hippie, fall in love Day. We had a naive Dawn, but that kind of made sense for probably a normal situation in a way. And then obviously Dusk was trying to, well, as we found out, you know, commit a coup, make sure he didn't die. He was looking at his own mortality going, why should I be the last Cleon? Why the hell should I do it? Just because Cleon first decided. We had that roller coaster where he was even like flirting with, I can't remember her name, but the head of the Foundation. I loved as well in Foundation that because we've gone out of the religious phase, we've got the proper pen pushers, blotter jotters, you know, administrative people who've completely lost the point of the soul and why the heart and soul and why they did Foundation in the first place, which kind of wasn't Harry Seldon's real reason, but it was some stages he had to make in psychohistory. Now, Harry Seldon, really glad he had less in it because, oh my God, Ignis. I'm so glad we didn't have an Ignis this season. But we didn't need as much Harry Seldon because it was like trying to put over that psychohistory could be wrong, there could be anomalies. Maybe we'll find out that it wasn't wrong in season 4, but that Harry Seldon had just got it wrong, which would work with his godlike prophecy. I think that I could see that doing a come around of, you were quite right, but you weren't quite the person that you thought you were because you become quite egotistical. That would fit Foundation. But at the end, Empire was left very weak, but not in a completely, if you didn't know what was going on politically, you'd think on the face of it, Empire was almost as strong with another foe. It's all shop front. But on Empire, when it came to Demoiselle, I thought they wrapped her up really, really well personally. It was a bit of a shame to see her going away, but then she's serving a greater purpose with what happened on Earth. Yes, Earth. And honestly, I'm wary of the Earth thing because I think in sci-fi quite often, maybe not in Star Trek, that being one of the few exceptions, but in a lot of them, it can be so cheap when they get to Earth and kind of limiting in a way unless they make it like ridiculous and over the top. So I'm cautious, but with these things, when you watch another season and you see the stuff that they've set up and then the decisions they made from the setups, it can retrospectively ruin things. And yes, I'm looking at The Force Awakens being ruined, not the movie, admittedly, by the next two films. It just wasn't as good afterwards. So I'm hoping whatever they set up with the robots being on Moon, whether they're running Earth or whether the humans are or they're working together or whatever it is. I'd imagine the robots will either be in charge or working with humans. Probably working with humans would be my guess, but this is dicey as to whether it could work out or not. But I did kind of like the twist. And also the other twist, Beta being the Mule and not the Mule that we thought it was. Yeah, it worked out. And it wasn't wholly obvious either. Like, it kind of was. The child in the flashbacks, or the baby, I should say, was a dead giveaway, but it wasn't a dead giveaway in the sense we watched it and went, that. I've recently watched Wednesday and season 1, well, I recently watched season 2 of Wednesday, but season 1, I was going through it going, it's going to be that, it's going to be that, it's going to be that. Now, I enjoyed it, but Hollywood and series in general suffer from predictable storylines. So this actually wasn't totally predictable. It all made sense. It wasn't like completely out of left field either. So it wasn't like, oh my, holy shit, you know, this happened and oh, that was completely out of there. It all made sense when we saw the pieces put together. So I'd say that was good, but I was a bit disappointed that Gale, and I've only just mentioned Gale beat Beta in the end, kind of. But then it is going to be a 2-season thing. And I think I mentioned earlier in the video that I wanted the Mule to be a 2-season thing. So I'm pleased with that. It had to be at least 2 seasons. And now we've got more factions coming into it. We've got a 4th faction coming into it, as I mentioned, the robots. So we'll see what's going to go on with that. I can't see Foundation being brought back in any sort of meaningful way other than to job out to whoever. So we'll have to see. At least Magnifico got his shine at the end and during the rest of it as well. Magnifico. Anyway, in conclusion, it was an enjoyable season. Nothing stupid was done, but there's stuff that does worry me as to whether it will work out in season 4 or not. So we'll have to see. And also better concentrated than season 2, I would say, in season 1. But maybe, again, that's because I understand some of the characters better and I've just gotten into the series. But I would recommend you recap if you need to. I definitely did need to, and that was a great decision, but enjoyable overall. So what did you think? Let me know below. Please comment. Let me know your thoughts. And please like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. Your support is still very appreciated. And until next time, I will see you later.